Hello, beautiful people. I'm Angie, and today we are going to be talking about inner child healing. I have been working with an inner child healing coach for the past 2 years. I will link her down below. I want to share all the knowledge that has been given to me because it has truly changed my relationship with myself as well as relationships with other people and Mother Earth. So I truly feel like it's all connected because the way that I treat myself is going to be the way that I treat others, and there's just like this beautiful ripple effect that happens. Okay. It took me time. It took me about 2 years of actually acknowledging that I needed this, because I think my mind was like, no, you don't need help. You have your friends, you have your family, you're good. Everything in your life on the outside looks great. Why would you need help? And so for 2 years, I really had to break down these internal stigmas. I started researching and reaching out to coaches and therapists, and I found somebody that resonated with me. Take your time that you need, but know that on the other end is your transformation. You can start that relationship with yourself so that you don't have to hide anymore and be the person that you truly know deep down that you are. Here are the 5 signs I knew that it was time to heal my inner child. Number 1, I was super reactive in my relationships. Even though I would read books and do the work myself, I realized, okay, nothing is changing because this thing keeps on showing up for me. Number 2, I was extremely hard on myself. My self-talk was all negative. Oh, this looks like crap. Just forget about it. Positive affirmations, all of those sorts of things made my body cringe, and I just didn't have a healthy relationship speaking to myself. Number 3, I forgot how to feel my feelings. I didn't even know what that meant. For me, I experienced locking up my feelings and focusing more on my mindset. I was so focused on my career, I completely disregarded my emotions and my feelings throughout the way. Hey, if you want, we can talk about it. Oh, no, honestly, it's fine. I'm fine. Everything's great. Let's just move on. Okay. When I did feel an emotion, I didn't know what to do with it. I didn't know how to address it. I didn't know how to work through it. And that kind of connects to how I would react to people. When you don't have the tools to process your emotions, it's gonna be projected on to somebody else, usually to the people that are closest to you. Number 4, lack of self-trust. Oof. Because I lacked self-trust, I was always looking for things outside of myself to measure my worth. I needed to direct my energy to doing, constantly moving. For me, relaxing equated to something bad is going to happen. My managers and coworkers would call me Speedy Shrimp because I used to just move so fast and always have something to do. Just got in, I'm gonna pick up some clothes later on and then do that whole shebang. All right, let's go. At the time, I thought it was funny and I was like, yeah, I'm just a doer, I'm an overachiever, you should hire me. It was something that I took on to mask this lack of self-trust. And number 5, I was an emotional caretaker. Hey, thank you so much for letting me come over. I really needed this. There's just so... Okay, hold on, before you talk. Tina hasn't even gone back to me after our first date. What am I supposed to do? Can you just please help me? Okay, yeah. Why don't you just tell me what's going on? I witnessed my family members take care of their caretakers. I thought that the right thing to do was to self-sacrifice and to put other people before yourself. I noticed the more I was doing this, the more small I started to feel about myself, the more my voice was hidden, my wants were buried away because I was so focused on making other people happy and making sure that their needs were met. Now, if you saw yourself in any of the signs that I mentioned, then it might be time to start working with your inner child. So here are 5 reasons why you want to start communicating and start healing your inner child. Number 1, the element of fun. Being somebody who is hyper vigilant, I completely forgot how to have fun. The fun part of myself would come out when I was either drunk or high at a concert or something, or at a bar with friends. But inner child healing is so much fun because you tap into that childlike innocence part of you that you completely just forgot about because of what society and our culture tells us we should now focus on. Number two, you learn how to have a loving relationship, not only with yourself, but with people around you. Like I mentioned, I was super reactive and constantly replaying certain scenarios from my past with my current, present adult self.
Oh my God. How many times do I have to tell him to just put the shoes away nicely? Okay, clearly he's not listening to me, probably doesn't care about anything I have to say. I'm gonna go yell at him.
You now have an understanding that other people also have their inner child. If they're reacting, you understand that it's not truly them, right? It's their inner child that's reacting. So then you have a sense of compassion and understanding for their inner child. Number three, self-love. For me, what self-love means is a practice. You can't just talk about it or write about it. It truly is something that needs to be felt, and inner child healing helps with that, because when you talk to that inner child and you acknowledge what they need, that is an act of self-love. You're no longer seeking outside of yourself for safety. You come back to yourself and you trust that there is nobody else that can take care of you better than you can for yourself. Number four, healing your inner child allows you to express yourself authentically. For the past 2 years of working with my inner child, I went all the way back and tried to remember all the things that I used to love doing, things that just came intuitively for me. And then once you start remembering these parts of yourself, you're like, yeah, those are the things that I love and that is who I am. And then you get to decide if that's something that you want to share out with the world. But truly, it is a beautiful experience to remember these aspects of yourself. And number five, it's important because you can break free from intergenerational trauma. This is a trauma that has came from a lineage of family members, your parents, your parents' parents, your parents' parents. And so by healing your inner child, you're able to build this new line for your lineage and for all women. I love this quote by Steffi Wagner. She says, "Pain travels through families until someone is ready to feel it." I remember when I first started sharing my healing journey, all the kind messages that I received and how it's inspiring other people to start on their healing journey. I honestly was not expecting that. So for anyone who tells you that it's not possible, do not listen to them, okay? It is possible to make these little changes in your world, and you can absolutely inspire somebody else who may be watching your journey. So what the ish is your inner child and inner child healing? First of all, I had no idea what the inner child was or what healing your inner child meant. Before we get deep into the inner child, I wanted to talk about our basic needs as children. So let's just bring it back. So as children and teens, we needed attunement, meaning we needed our caregivers to tune in, to soothe, to nourish, and to be with us, especially when, we were experiencing something that was really tough, like a hard emotion, for example. This is something that I learned from my teacher, Linda Tai, that attunement is different than love. Your parents could love you but not be attuned to your needs. So I completely understand and empathize with our caregivers. We're not blaming them, but we also have to take accountability and choose to reparent ourselves today in the present world so that we're not stuck in this victim mentality of, oh, but my parents couldn't be there for me the way I needed to, so that's why I am the way that I am today. Like, no more of that. We take responsibility now to be the caregivers for our own inner children. So what ends up happening when our emotional needs are not being attuned? When we cry out for a caregiver, but there is no tuning into or nourishing of our emotions? Well, we experience developmental trauma. So as my teacher, Linda Tai, taught me, trauma isn't about what happened that shouldn't have happened. It's also about what didn't happen that should have happened. So as we experience developmental trauma as children, as teens, if we don't know how to properly process these traumatic events, these memories are stored in our bodies and they show up as reactions, patterns or triggers. So even though we may look like adults from the outside, there's a lot of us that are still replaying these patterns and these triggers that are coming from a wounded inner child. And I know you know this, those times when you react in a way and you're like, who just said that? That was so childish, that was not me. That's because it's coming from your wounded inner child. And so as I started doing the inner child work, I realized how much I have been living from this place of disempowerment. I wasn't an empowered adult. I was repressed, I was hurt, I was scared. So in essence, think of the inner child wound as like living energy that's trapped inside of us and that's still reliving these traumatic events. Okay, Angie, I get it, but are there any solutions? The good news is that we can form this bond and this relationship with our inner children so that we can become these liberated adults that we know we want to be. Here are the 5 ways I'm reparenting my inner child and how you can too. Number 1, the first thing I did was start to gather images of my inner child and even teens. So if you don't have any images, you can even draw your inner child. What would they feel like? What would they look like? What are some of the things that they would say? And then I kept this photo close to me. So in my journal or bedside table, I actually have it right now hanging on our fridge. This is a really uncomfortable thing to do. It was uncomfortable for me as somebody who is not used to talking kindly to myself, but it's a practice, right? So you're not gonna believe the things that you say right away. So just be aware that it's not going to feel natural at first, which is totally fine. And one of the things that I found that works for me was being honest, like looking at that photo of your younger self and say something like, hey, just so you know, this is new for me. I feel uncomfortable doing this, but I'm gonna try. Honestly, like every time I tap into listening to my inner child and her needs, most of the time what she needs is for me to just try to be that parent. Sometimes what I will literally do is whenever I'm feeling a really hard emotion or if I reacted in a way that, you know, came from a wounded inner child place, then I will go grab a pillow or you can grab your stuffed animal and to just hold it. Pretend that that is your inner child. Sit with them, see what they need from you in that moment. Honestly, at first, the ego mind will just say all these things because it doesn't want you to feel and it doesn't want you to go into this heart-centered space. So of course, you're gonna get those resistant urges to go back and not do it. But I'm telling you, there is this nourishment and like safety that comes when you just stay. When you stay with your inner child and say something like, I see you, I am here, I'm not going anywhere, and there's nowhere else I need to be. You are literally rewiring your body to now feel like, okay, I am safe, I am being taken care of in this present moment. I don't have to stay in my past. The future, the present is a safe place to navigate through now. Number 3, meditations. So there's a ton of inner child meditations out there. I will link them down below, but there's this app that I use for meditations called Insight Timer. It's free. I highly recommend it. And you can just search up inner child meditations. And during the meditations, it just allows you to sit there, visualize, or you can hear messages from your inner child, what they need from you at that moment. You really don't need that much time to just tap in and show your inner child that you're here for them now and they don't have to react from a place of fear or hurt. Number 3, listening to songs that my younger self loved listening to. Think about the times when you were at home by yourself or a room by yourself and you put on your favorite song that just like made your heart dance. Put those songs on again and just close your eyes. It might feel a little awkward. Put the blinds down, whatever you gotta do to feel comfortable. Get to that space. Dance like you are that child again in that room by yourself. And then the other thing is watching movies that your child used to love watching or TV shows. Reincorporating those favorite things that your inner child used to love doing to let them know that, hey, you're here with them and that they're worthy of spending time with. Everything that you just hid away because society told you to, let's bring those back out again because those are the parts of you that just make you feel so like just yummy. Bring them out. don't hide them. Number 4, I started talking like a child. I started talking like a child, and this is something that I practice with my friends and my partner.
Hey, it's me. What's uppity puppety? I just wanted to say I was thinking about you and just, gosh, I miss you. Murmur. Anyway.
Whatever it is, like that, like childlike, innocent part of you, let it be expressed. Once again, it comes off a little uncomfortable at times, but once it's out, it's like, oh, that is a part of me that I forgot about, and I want to celebrate that. Why, just because we're in these adult bodies, do we have to hide these fun, animated, quirky sides of ourselves? If that's who you are, if it's not who you are, that's cool too. Whatever you are, it's allowed. You don't have to change yourself to be worthy or validated. Come as you are fully right now, because that is what the world needs. One last thing that I wanted to mention, it comes up a lot, especially when I'm recording or trying something new that just feels a little bit riskier. One of the things is allowing myself to fail and then laugh about it. When I was a child, I was immediately bashed for making a mistake. And there was no room for trying something new. It was, you make a decision and you stick with that all the way through. And if you make a mistake, there's just so much shame that is harbored. So allowing yourself to make those mistakes and then to laugh about it, right? It happened, and then you just sort of let it go. We don't hold on to it, and we say to our inner child, hey, that's okay that happened. We're just human, it's all good. So I hope you learned something from these videos. If you have any questions at all, please comment, leave me a DM, because I would love to discuss this with you. If this feels a little weird or you have questions about it, let's chat about it, because I'm dreaming and looking for a community now of people who are like-minded and who love to chat about these things. So reach out to me if you feel like this is something that you want to learn more about.